that was like the little missing piece that I needed to fully step into my healing, because I had already addressed, the nutrition, I had addressed certain lifestyle changes, but something was missing. Like I had two doctors, two OBs tell me that it just wasn't going to happen for me. In our heads, like it's just not going to happen.
Hi, Desiree.
Hi, Reese.
Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm so excited to chat about the beautiful miracle that you manifested, a baby using nutrition habits and mindset work. It's going to be such a great chat today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be here and to be chatting with you. I'm just so excited. Can't wait.
Yeah, so I'll share a little bit of backstory. I actually drink celery juice pretty much every day, do my lemon water, smoothies, that type of thing. I just like having a healthy lifestyle. And I saw your story pop up on Medical Medium, commented beautiful story. And then you reached out letting me know that you were in the Yes Supply method when you found out that you manifested your beautiful pregnancy, and how the mindset tools actually had so much to do with it as well. So I would love to hear from you all about your story, the ups and downs that you had to go through to get to this place. So I will just hand it over to you.
Yeah. So I am just, still can't believe this is happening. I feel like I want to pinch myself. But yes, I have been using Medical Medium information for the last almost 4.5 years now. And after implementing his protocols and everything, it took about 3.5 years for me to completely reverse all of my symptoms from Hashimoto's, lupus, and dermatomyositis. And during my healing journey, it wasn't like a linear, like super straightforward kind of healing. There was a lot of ups and downs and twists and a lot of mindset that had to be done in order for me to fully step into my healing. So I had already been doing Medical Medium for about, I want to say like 3 years. And I stumbled upon the Yes Supply. I knew that was like the little missing piece that I needed to fully step into my healing, because I had already addressed, the nutrition, I had addressed certain lifestyle changes, but something was missing. So when I actually found you on a podcast, it was Catherine Zinkina's Manifestation Babes podcast. And when I heard your story, I resonated with you so much, because you were talking about how, like, when you grew up in a house where you experienced, traumas. And I resonated with that because I also experienced a lot of trauma growing up, living in a house with domestic abuse, and there was a lot going on. And when I heard your story, I was like, oh my goodness, like, who is this woman? And I started to like Google you and research you, and like found you on Instagram. And I was like, this is the course that I need to fully step into my healing and to show up in the world, because I had so many limiting beliefs and blocks that were keeping me sick and keeping me like hiding, because I felt so much fear. Mm-hmm. So I had been looking at your program for about a year before I was like, I'm just going to do it. So I was like looking at your program, and finally I decided to join, and I knew I had to join a cohort, because I was like, there's no way I can do this self-paced, because I know myself. I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll get to it next week, and I'll never do it. So having the cohort and having that accountability was amazing. So I was a part of Riley's cohort, and she was just the sweetest. Like, she makes you feel like so comfortable and like so calm. And I met some amazing women in the cohort. So to this day, I still am very close to one of them. And I actually met somebody else through the Facebook community who we're really close friends with as well. So I am so thankful for Yes Supply, because I feel like it completely changed my life. So as I'm going through the cohort, I started to do these mindset techniques with my partners, right? So we do our little one-on-one techniques. And a lot of my cohort classmates were focusing on money, right? I wasn't focusing on money. I was focusing on health, which they're like, Desiree, but what's the dollar sign? What's the amount you want to make? And I'm like, I don't want to focus on that right now. Like I want to focus on my healing and I want to focus on helping people. Like I want to share my story and I want to help people. And they're like, but you can't manifest that. I'm like, yes, I can. So I would always focus on that, right? And when I would envision my future self, I would always see myself like fully healed and just releasing all of those past traumas that were keeping me sick. Because I'm not sure if you've heard of the ACEs. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay.
The like ACE, like for trauma, childhood
Yes.
trauma. Yeah,
Yes.
we talk about that in
Oh,
the
yes. Of course you did. So with the adverse childhood experiences, like I feel like that is something that a lot of people don't know about is like when you experience traumas early on in your childhood, that can manifest later on in your life as an illness. Many people manifest as an addiction or, different things. But for me and for a lot of women, it can manifest in illness and disease. So for me, I was like, I need to do something to release what happened to me in my past and disconnect from it because that's not my identity. That's not who I am. Like I want to become the identity of the healed version of Desiree, like the healed version of myself. And so every time I did a technique with a partner, that's what I was focusing on. So I was trying to focus on releasing, all of that past trauma, those blocks, those limiting beliefs, these things that were not mine. They were ingrained in my mind when I was a little kid, but that's not my reality. It's not who I am. Mm-hmm. So being able to release all of these blocks really helped me accelerate my healing to the point where even my husband noticed. He was like, Desiree, like, I don't know what you're doing, but like, I noticed like you're not having flare-ups anymore because even during medical medium, I would still get flare-ups, right? My typical would be like before I started healing, I used to get flare-ups every day. And then with medical medium, I went down to like once a week. And with your program, I completely eliminated my flare-ups. I didn't have them anymore. So, I feel like I completely released so many blocks and so many, fears that I lived with, lots of fears. So that helped me step into my healing fully. And it also helped me show up to my community on Instagram. And I'm so grateful it helped me start my YouTube channel because that was something that I had dreamt of for so long. I was like, I need to get my story out to the world and I need to start a YouTube. But I was so scared. I had so many fears holding me back, like imposter syndrome and just like, who are you to like show up and share your story? But I knew that my story would help so many people. So during the Yes Supply, like a couple months had passed by. I think I started in July. And in October was when I found out that I was pregnant. So even though I wasn't really focusing on a baby, I was focusing on my health, And as a result, I was able to conceive. And it's magic because I wasn't supposed to get pregnant. Like I had 2 doctors, 2 OBs tell me that it just wasn't going to happen for me. So that was already like in our heads, like it's just not going to happen. We have 1 child and we were so happy with our, 1 kid. But I always said like, if it's meant to be, it will happen. Like I never forced it. I never took fertility treatments or did anything to kind of force the pregnancy. I just kind of went with the flow. And when we found out, it was just, we could not believe it. My husband was crying. I was crying. Even my son was like jumping up and down because he has always wanted a sibling. So he was so happy. And it was just beautiful. So that's why I reached out to you because I'm like, I want you to know that you had so much to do with this healing and with this miracle baby because I had so much to release and so much that was holding me back. So now, after completing the Yes Supply, I feel healthier, more vibrant, and I'm able to show up to my community more confident. And I feel like I want to share my story. Like I just record my YouTube videos like nothing. And I'm not even scared anymore. I was like, what was holding me back? So I completely eliminated that fear that was holding me back. And a lot of I think my favorite techniques, the one that really helped me was the neural energetic encoding.
Yes.
When I saw my timeline and I was able to travel back and figure out when was that moment that created that fear for me was so amazing when I was able to travel back in my mom's womb. So in her womb, I'm like, this is so like insane. I was able to see her like from above, you know, in the car with my dad. She was pregnant with me 3 months and she was crying and she was terrified. So after we did the entire technique and I released everything, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, did this really happen or am I imagining it? And she was like, oh my God, Desiree, like that actually happened. And she's like, how do you know? So apparently what happened was she found out she was pregnant at 3 months. She didn't know, or she was just trying to pretend she wasn't pregnant because she was scared. And when they finally went to the doctor, you know, they confirmed that she was pregnant. They were in the car together and she's crying and scared because she thought they couldn't afford having another baby. My dad, you know, he was not the easiest person to live with. So she was really scared. And I absorbed all of that fear. So when I finally realized that that fear was not mine, that it was hers, I was able to release, just like completely let it go. It was amazing. So yeah, I tell everyone, I'm like, when we, like, I have clients too, right? When I see my clients, I tell them, like, we do mindset techniques. We help you release things that are actually holding you back from fully stepping into your healing. And I feel like that is just the key to healing. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh. I thank you so much for sharing all of that. And you shared it so beautifully. Like we literally walked down that path with you. So thank you for just being so vulnerable and sharing all of that. And I have like a million different things that I want to say right now. Like I think it's so beautiful how you're combining the health coaching with the mindset coaching too, to pass on your learnings to your clients, as well as, oh my gosh, I just have so many things to say. It's so beautiful. I had chills at so many different parts of your story too. Like, okay, the other thing I want to say is the neural energetic encoding. Out of all of the techniques, I know they're all powerful, but like that one really stands out. And so many people have said that too. They'll go back to like 3 months in the womb or past life or whatever. And then they ask their parent, like, hey, did this really happen? And they're like, how could you have possibly known that?
Yeah.
And it's because what most people don't know is that our subconscious mind stores a record of everything. So even if you can't consciously remember what happened when you were 1 month old, your subconscious mind stores a record of it. And that's how we evolved. There's a lot of studies on like animals and single cell organisms too that show that if something happens with a predecessor, that fear or that emotion is passed down through generations. So like one example of a study was they had a single cell organism. They shocked it when it went to a certain place in like the crate or whatever. And then the offspring would never go to those places because it just downloaded that information.
Wow.
So I feel like maybe what happened in your situation is your subconscious mind was holding on to the belief of like getting pregnant is scary or something bad might happen or we can't afford it, we can't do it. And because your body was holding on to that, it wasn't allowing you to, you know, have the outcomes that you wanted. Then once you release that, oh my gosh, miracle baby on the way. This is so beautiful to hear.
Yes. And I feel like you even like walking me through that, it kind of clicked for me because so after I had my son almost 10 years ago, I remember like that's when all of my illnesses began. That's when I started to feel really sick.
Wow.
And I maybe subconsciously, I was like, I'm scared to get pregnant because I feel like I'm going to get back to that stage, you know, of feeling sick. So maybe that was a fear that I had, you know, subconsciously. And I finally released it and I allowed this little miracle to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like the subconscious mind, it wants to serve us. So maybe on some level, it believed that it was serving you by doing that, even though consciously you're like, no, like I want a baby. Like let me have this baby. And yeah, that's why it's so great to use these tools and like speak to the language of the subconscious mind because that's the one it understands and allows us to clear. So one of the things I did want to ask you was what was the technique that stood out for you that helped you do that? And so it sounds like it was the neural energetic encoding.
Yes, that was my favorite. My second favorite is the EFT tapping. Obsessed. Like I will do that one just for like, you know, daily things. Like if I'm worried about something or I'm really stressed about something, I'll do a quick tapping session and they'll be good to go. So I love
that.
EFT and hypnosis. Amazing. It's
So amazing.
beautiful. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. And it's so easy to just like put your headphones in like before bed or whatever and just like listen to something as you're going to sleep and let it just reprogram your subconscious mind for you.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. Love that.
I'm interested too. What specific medical medium protocols did you do to help you with the shifts as well?
Yeah. So for me, I bought his thyroid healing book because since I have Hashimoto's, I wanted to really tackle the thyroid. And I just like as soon as I received that book, I went to the back and I just started implementing all of his protocols.
Oh,
so the
cool.
so the first thing that I did was the morning cleanse, which is the lemon water. And then I did the celery juice and the heavy metal detox smoothie. And then I completely changed my diet. I was doing back then the AIP. It's the autoimmune paleo.
Okay.
So I had not stopped eating meat. So doing medical medium, I completely went plant-based, you know, whole food plant-based. And that was when I saw a major shift in my, you know, like my digestion, like the brain fog kind of lifted. Like I didn't have the migraines anymore. So that was just like super, very, like I'd say about 1 to 2 weeks, I saw a difference in my health. So I was like, that's amazing how like, you know, we believe that this one diet is the one until you try something new and you're like, wait a minute, this was really helped me in my autoimmune diseases. So for me, completely eliminating the meat, like lowering my fat intake, going oil free. So now when I cook, I don't use oil anymore. And that was very hard for me because I'm Puerto Rican and Puerto Ricans love to cook with oil and fry our little plantains. So I don't cook with oil anymore. I just use water instead. Yeah. And the food tastes amazing. Like I have learned to make my Puerto Rican dishes and make them taste just as amazing.
Oh, that's great.
Using the vegetables and their little condiments and everything. So that was the major thing, the morning cleanse and going completely plant-based, lowering my fat intake, not consuming processed foods. So just trying to eat the food that nature provides, right?
Yes.
That was so important.
I got a chill when you said that too. I totally agree with that. Like yes. I'm not perfect, but I really do try to align as close as possible to what medical medium teaches for myself and for my kids too, because yeah, it's like we have all of these foods that our bodies are made to digest and made to process. And the more we stick to that, the more we feel better. And just like sharing my experience too. So I used to be someone, even before I had kids, who would wake up and I couldn't get out of bed. Like even like when I was running my business, like having a lot of success, it was like mornings were hard for me. I still to this day do not schedule anything in the morning because I just know that like I'll miss it. Like it's just, I was just programmed to like not work in the mornings.
Yeah.
And I never got diagnosed for anything, but like in hindsight, I wonder if it was maybe like a mild chronic fatigue or something like that, because I was just, even with a full 8 hours, sometimes 10 hours sleep, I was still exhausted. And what I found was when I start the day with lemon water and celery, boom, so much more energy. So I don't even drink coffee. I rarely have caffeine unless I have like a cacao drink here and there. Like that's kind of my like junk food or like comfort food or whatever. But yeah, like the fact that I'm able to do so much with no caffeine in my system because I'm consistently having celery juice. I think it's and like live foods. Like a lot of the time if I want a snack, I'll get like a thing of watermelon from the grocery store or kind of a watermelon or bananas or whatever. And I just believe or agree with him that like when we eat things that are alive, it helps us feel more alive.
Yes.
100%.
So,
I agree with that. There's actually another naturopath that I found on YouTube, and his name is Robert Morse, and he talks a lot about like fruits, berries, melons. Like if you want to heal anything, fruits, berries, melons. And like if you look at some of his stuff, like the way that he helps people regenerate their bodies, even in really bad circumstances, like really bad health conditions, is like so inspiring, and it just makes us wonder, like, how much are we not taught in the regular path of schooling or the regular path of medicine? So, none of the teachers are perfect, but like, I think it's so important for all of us to like look at what are different ways of approaching our health, and then like seeing what's possible. And you're such a beautiful example of what's possible with the food and then with the mindset.
Thank you. Well, thank you, because you helped me. So I feel very honored to like have stumbled upon that podcast, to find you and hear your story. That is what made me like click and connect with you. It's so crazy how sharing your story is so powerful, and you really kind of feel kind of almost ashamed sometimes to share that story and be vulnerable. But that is that missing piece that makes you connect with people, because that's what made me like, I'm like, oh my God, like I love her. I feel like she's my friend. Like I want to learn more from her, So that
I feel like you're my friend.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I feel like that was definitely the missing piece for me, and for so many people who are doing medical medium that reached out to me. So after medical medium reshared my post, I got so many DMs, so many questions, and I'm not used to that, right? So I was trying to answer everyone, and I think I did my best. But a lot of people were saying, like, I've been on medical medium for 4 years. How come I haven't reversed my illnesses yet? Like you. And I mentioned the mindset. Like, the mindset is so important. Like, if you're living in a mindset where you feel sorry for yourself and you are identifying with that disease that you were diagnosed with, it's going to be really hard to let it go. Like, you have to separate yourself from your diagnosis and just focus on being the healed version of yourself. Like that was like the magic for me. Like I would wake up in the morning and I would just be like, even if I didn't feel 100%, like I would just wake up and I would say, what would the healed version of myself, what would she do? Like, what would she do right now? What would she surround herself with? So it was so many pieces, but mindset, I'm like, that is number one. It is just as important as the nutrition. So important.
Yes, I totally agree. And it sounds like when you shifted into that mindset and you shifted into that identity, you're able to attract all the things that identity had. And then you're on that timeline of that version of Desiree.
Yes, absolutely. And something really cool that happened that I just realized last week was whenever I would envision myself at the beginning of your course, like I would envision the future me, the healed me, the person that I wanted to become. I would always see myself like on a beach in a long white dress with like long hair. That's how I would see myself. And when I started to look at my maternity photos, I was like, oh my God, like that is the person that I saw in my visualization. I didn't see myself pregnant, but I did see myself with the long hair, with the white dress, and on the beach and just feeling so happy and so healthy. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm her, like I'm here. So I'm just so excited like to be where I'm at. And yeah, thank you again for your program and for sharing your story and for everything you've done, because I feel like I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for you. So thank you.
Aw, thank you so much. And thank you for saying yes to yourself, because you said yes to yourself, and you didn't just like, that's what a lot of people do, right? They listen to a podcast or they read an inspiring book and then they just go back to normal. Mm-hmm. But you actually said, like, I'm going to say yes to myself. Like, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to invest in myself to become this person. And now here you are.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, it was so great chatting with you and hearing your story and hearing how you healed, everything that you were going through, all these different symptoms. Like, it's so amazing that you, of course, got pregnant. You have this beautiful baby, but it sounds like you healed so many other things as well.
I did. Yes.
I just want to say a big congratulations to you. And you're such an inspiration for so many people who are dealing with sicknesses and illnesses. And I always chant around my house. I'm so cheesy sometimes, but I always chant health is wealth, health is wealth.
Yes.
Because like what you were saying, like a lot of your classmates were saying, let's talk about money, but it's like health is the real wealth. And you can't even really think about money if you're not feeling 100%. So I'm really glad that you focused on that. And then look, you're attracting clients, You're attracting people asking questions. So you stepped into the healed version of you, and looks like all the abundance is flowing now as well.
Yes. I'm taking it all in.
So I'm sure some people who are watching or listening are definitely going to want to learn more about you and hear more of your story and follow along with you. So could you share, A, what are you working on? Maybe what some of your offerings are, and then B, where they can follow you as well.
Yes. So I am currently working on building a course. I'm very inspired by taking the Yes Supply course. So I would love to build a course, especially now that I'm expecting a baby and I won't be available for so many one-on-ones. I want to build a self-paced course where I can help people on the nutrition healing path and also on the mindset healing path, and include the hypnosis, include the neural energetic encoding, EFT. So I'm currently working on building that course. So excited. And I am currently taking one-on-one clients for like 90-minute single sessions. So up until I have the baby, that is available. And my program is a 9-week program where I actually meet with clients one-on-one. That is currently on hold. I'm completely booked out, and I am just putting it on hold for now because baby is due in June. So, put it on hold. But I do have a wait list. So if you go to my website, which is DesireeTorresHealth.com, you can sign up for the wait list, and hopefully, you'll be the first to know when my course becomes available. You can also find me on Instagram at Desiree Torres Health and on my YouTube channel at Desiree Torres Health as well.
Okay, amazing. And then for you, Desiree, as a graduate of the Yes Supply method, you also get access to Yes Dream clients. So we walk you through step by step how to put your course together,